As you're aware, I'm about to retire from public life, and I wanted to take a few minutes just to thank you and talk to you about the city and where I think we are, and about the matters that I believe are important. But before I begin, first let me thank my wife, my daughter Dana, my son Brian. They've put up with my travels and my political life and my military for a lot of years. Whether I was on the road or whether in the state, whether I was deployed, or whether I was working as an alderman or supervisor or a mayor over the last 37 years, they've always been there, and they've always gone with me and let me do what I wanted to do. I also want to thank Cheryl. Cheryl has been my right-hand person now for the whole time I was mayor, and probably a year or more when I was a supervisor. Lord knows she puts up with a lot, and I appreciate her dealing with me and taking the time and making the effort to make my job as smooth as possible. I want to publicly thank all the department heads and all the city employees that have worked so hard for the last 12 years. They've met every challenge with determination and a positive attitude. I thank you so very much for those efforts. I also pledge my full support to Mayor Purdie and his administration. I look forward to his leadership and the continued positive direction that he will take us in. When someone leaves a position of great responsibility, they tend to think and thank themselves for everything that happened while they were in that position. The truth is, no one can be successful alone. My father taught me to organize, deputize, and then supervise. Don't micromanage people. Hire quality people. Let them do their job. Get out of their way. If you knew how to be the Parks and Rec director or the Main Street director or the Public Works director, you would be in that job. Obviously, I don't know how to do those jobs. Hire people that can and let them go. Whenever you take a large project, truthfully, there are a lot of people sitting around that table. The most important thing a mayor can do is to hire people smarter than he is and let them do their jobs. A mayor's function is to see the big picture and to lay out a vision that takes the community into the future, not 4 years into the future to the next election, 10, 20, 50 years out. Try to point the city in a direction so that the next person who takes over has a direction to go and we're already ahead. Understanding whatever your goal is vital if a leader is to build a path to that goal. Failure to even know what your goal is makes it impossible to build a path. Finally, a leader must have the courage to execute that path and that goal despite the competition, despite the critics, and despite opposition. And sometimes to do that, you have to be more forceful than you would other times. After all, it is politics, and there is generally a fight involved with everything. But if you believe in what you're doing passionately enough, then you will put up that fight. Let me give you an example. The Big Black River Pipeline. The pipeline will assist the growth of Clinton into the next century, and it will also assist the growth of Western Hinds County. We will have sufficient sewage available to us to get us into the next 100 years, and it will allow us to complete and continue our growth. However, the city doesn't have $150 million in its budget to do these things. So we've got to go somewhere else. So whoever the idea came from, you've got to find somebody who knows where the money is. In this case, Greg Harper and Brett Bailey, retired Congressman Greg Harper, has helped us and has gone to Congress, and we've raised approximately $70 million of the $150 million that we need. So we're moving along that path. But before he can go to Congress and talk to them, he has to talk to somebody about a plan. And so that plan has to be developed. WGK, Greg Gerhardt, develop the plan that will run the sewer line from Clinton all the way to the Big Black River. In addition to that, you have to have people who are going to locate where the lines will lay, buy the land, and then do something with the money. In our case, Jimmy Baltry, our city clerk, has been the one taking care of all of the money for us. You must keep up with, finally, in the organization to control the process with representation from the benefiting cities. This example alone has involved more than 75 people as the project has moved, and more will be added as it moves along. Anybody in office that tells you, look what I did, they're just taking credit for what others have done. They just were part of it like anybody else. Seeing the big picture also allows a leader to expand the original project. For example, when the Mississippi Christian University sold the land that Lions Club Park was on, we had an opportunity to gain people to walk in Old Town. Now, you could have quit there, but there's another opportunity. We need a new Lions Club Park, and across the street was vacant land. And so we go talk to the college, and they agree to make a land swap with us, and we gain that land. Then again, you need a plan and all the other things that I talked about earlier to make this usable as a new and exciting park. So an old Lions Club Park has been converted into a new Lions Club Park. But wait a minute. The train depot's on the other side. We need to connect those two parks. And how are we going to do that? By building under the bridge, a project that's going on right now. And when you build under the bridge, you have connected East Street to the railroad track. Now, closing off that street at the railroad track and at the intersection of East Street and East Leek Street, you have created a huge area for people to come and enjoy an event, a band. Hillman Commons people can come down or stay in their buildings and listen to it. Others can come and sit, or they can take their children to play. And so instead of having just nothing there, we've developed this into a very viable and a very important park as part of our system. Now, the same thing can be said about any of our parks as we've gone with the 2% money, and that's been developed. It's the same process. My point is, I didn't do it. Other people did it. I was just there at the table with them. And for anybody to tell you that they have done this by themselves are kidding themselves. You recall when I got elected to office, I always told you, always ended a talk by saying, together we can do anything. This proves it. We've had citizen input, we've had professional input, we've had government input. Together, we have put these things together. Your safety has been a very high priority. Through the city budgets, an increase in police officers, and the citizens' efforts and contributions, the needed resources were made available to make Clinton the third safest city in Mississippi. Look at the crime numbers from 2013 to May of 2025. You'll notice on these numbers, auto burglaries have dropped from 116 in 2013 to 12. This is through May of 2025. House burglaries from 74 to 2. Business burglaries from 18 to 4. Grand larceny from 65 to 2. Robbery crimes during the same time have dropped from 12 to 2. Strong arm robberies from 5 to 0, and carjackings from 4 to 1. Now, how is that possible? Because through all that, arrests have gone up. It's possible because the citizens have bought weapons for our police department to use. The city budgets have increased to provide license plate readers and other cameras to put on, body cameras to put on and protect the police. And finally, the support this community gives its police officers. It's not unusual to hear police officers talk about people buying lunch for them, buying dinner for their family while they're out, anonymously, just because they appreciate them. And that's important as these men and women work in our city and defend our city. Now, we've grown our force from 35 to 62 over the last 12 years. But future pressure from crime in Jackson and the broken judicial system of Hinds County will make the protection of our community more difficult. The growth in enforcement personnel from 2013 to 2025 proves more officers decrease crime. I hope the department grows to 70 officers during the next 4 years. That's the key to all of this. Saying, well, we're at 40 officers now and we've never been to 45, we can't make that, has been proven wrong. We can't make it to 50. We can't make it to 55. We can't make it to 60. Yes, we can, and we have. We're authorized 62. We're sitting at 61. We can do this. And so we should continue that growth because the city needs to be safe, and having more policemen on the ground is the way to do it. And here's some thoughts for the future. These are things that I tried to do, so I'm not asking the next mayor and board to do anything that I would not want to have seen done while I was in office. First, stream your work sessions. People are interested in that. And it doesn't matter if one person watches it or 100 watches it. It depends on what's going on and what the interest level is. But let people see how the sausage is made so they understand just how hard the mayor and the board works to get a viable ordinance, a viable plan, whatever it is that they're working on, the questions that they ask and the depth that they go to make sure that this city is protected and it's taken care of in a way that we have become accustomed to. Secondly, Zoom calls are allowed by state statute, but limit them to 1 or 2 a year. Elected representation should always be present in a meeting, eye to eye, with their fellow board members and the citizens who attend. You lose touch with the city and with the board if you're Zooming in a meeting. Require them to be there in person. 3, aldermen should visit the mayor on a regular basis. Don't wait to a board meeting or to a work session and then bring up a topic. Come in, talk about it, call, email. Just say, look, I've got an issue out here and I need to know what to do. And if we talk about it at the work session, at least the administration would have had the opportunity to bring the correct person in to give the answers that you're looking for. And that's just a fair way to do it. While work sessions aren't required, we hold one a month. And while an agenda for that work session isn't required, I always send one out. So send it back to me. If you know someone's coming, let me know, tell me why, and we'll have the right people there to answer the questions so that we don't have to come back to you later in the week and try to answer the questions. 4, tourism is vital for our city's existence. Now, I understand that there's been some pushback on that, but the financial stability of the city is going to rest on this. We need additional resources of income to keep up with the devaluating dollar. Last year, as an example, Ridgeland tourism was worth $1,006,000 in tourism. Clinton, we made $60,000. Now, I've heard it said, well, Clinton will never be a Charleston. Maybe not. But you know what? 50 years ago, Charleston wasn't Charleston. And now it's a place where everybody wants to go. 50 years from now, Ridgeland could very well be a Charleston, making the kind of money that they do on tourism. If we don't turn our efforts to tourism, we never will. I cannot emphasize that enough. We have legitimate history here and we have legitimate things for people to see. Tourism is too important for us to pass on. Number 6, Pay your people or lose them. We should be leading, not hoping to be equal with the other cities in the metro area or the state. This goes back, frankly, as another source of needing other sources of income, which brings tourism back into the discussion. But if we don't keep up and pay our people, not what, I'll tell you, one alderman one time said, we want the best people we can get for the lowest price we can get them. Well, you know what? You're not going to get the best people. You're going to get a continuing turnover of people as they move to higher paying jobs. We become the training ground for those department heads. And it's happened in this 4 years. And it's a problem that the only way to address it is to keep up on the pay scale. You're not going to keep up if all you're doing is hoping for sales tax and ad valorem tax to increase your budget enough, because the devaluating dollar brought on by the inflation is going to push you back down again. You're never going to catch up that way. You have to come up with other sources of income. My last point is try for Butts Park. Don't give up. Adding it to the 84 acres would be a bonanza to our city. The waterworks model and the POW camp are as much a part of our city's history as anything else. Keep trying, keep pushing, keep working the issue. We need that, and what the city could do with it would be absolutely spectacular. I've enjoyed being your mayor. I've left because, frankly, I just don't have any more ideas. And when you run out of ideas, you don't need to be in political office anymore. You need to move on and let someone else come in with their fresh ideas. And so this is what I'm doing now. We're moving into another phase of our life. We intend to enjoy ourselves in retirement, but we're going to always be interested in what goes in the city of Clinton. We want to know that our city continues to grow and continues to prosper. I wish Mayor Purdie and his board the best of luck. And if I could ever be of service, please let me know. And remember, together, we can do anything.